Communities across the state are taking part in a challenge to help families facing food insecurity. The Open Your Heart Summer Challenge is in its 16th year. And to tell us more about how you can help, we're here with Jessica Mathias, the Executive Director of Open Your Heart to the Hungry and Homeless. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so this challenge is in its 16th year. How did Open Your Heart get started?
Yeah, well, we were founded by state of Minnesota employees actually that just wanted their giving dollars through payroll to remain local. So essentially we were donating money out to local food shelves throughout the state of Minnesota, and we've grown to now provide funding to emergency shelters, food shelves, and domestic violence shelters throughout the state, but really with the goal of ensuring that Minnesotans in need have their most basic needs met, so food, shelter, and safety, and ensuring that the organizations that serve those individuals have the tools, resources, and infrastructure necessary to do so.
Yeah, I love that. Putting your dollars towards something local, helpful, especially in the summer months when things are a little tougher.
Right.
So can you explain the challenge? I know it's a matching situation.
Yeah, so the Summer Challenge started 16 years ago, and it was really based on our food shelf partners telling us that they were seeing an increase in need during the summer months, but also a decline in donations. Food insecurity is also already on the rise. However, during the summer months, children aren't in school any longer, so they're not receiving the free reduced breakfast and lunch programs. There's also take-home backpack programs where they can take food home for the weekend, so they're not receiving that resource, and so they're going to visit their local food shelf to really meet that need that they have throughout the summer when they're not in school.
Yeah, and I'm sure, I know food shelves have been hit, really hard. And I know too, over the years, since you've been doing the challenge, I'm sure you've seen the food insecurity getting a little worse.
Right.
What does it look like this year or today?
Yeah, it continues to worsen. 1 in 5 households throughout the state of Minnesota are food insecure. That number increases in greater Minnesota, where it's 1 in 4 households. People are struggling with the cost of living in general. Grocery prices continue to increase, and they're visiting their food shelf a lot for the first time, but the food shelves are also purchasing food, right? So they're seeing an increase in their expenses, but also an increase in need. So the challenge is really there to help them meet that need.
Absolutely. This is why this is so important. And of course, you're saying you're matching and things go to, donations go to food shelves around the state. And how many are you working with currently?
So we have 86 participating food shelves throughout the state of Minnesota. So there's a food shelf in everybody's community. And we fund up to $4,000 proportionately to the amount raised throughout the month of July.
Perfect. All right. So we have until July 31st to get those donations in. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show and talking about this initiative. If you can help, any amount will be great. We have more information